We had a wonderful discussion yesterday with Joy and with Zahir Khan, but we didn't have Robin with us in the studio. So Robbie, to get your reactions and your memories, and we saw some wonderful photographs, particularly from the 2007 World T20 of you and Yuvi together. Would those days be your greatest memories together with him?
I think I've played a lot with Yuvi, and I think Yuvi is one of the most resilient human beings I've come across. Not just on the field but off the field as well. I have tremendous amount of respect for him for the way he's dealt with his illness and come back after that, played competitive cricket. I think competitive cricket is hard enough to play without having an illness like that, but to actually beat the illness and come back and play that level of cricket and succeed at that level is phenomenal. And in the 2011 World Cup, he was not okay. He was genuinely not okay. I remember meeting him before the final, and he was struggling, and he was saying something's wrong with me, and after the World Cup I'm going to try and figure out what it is. And I remember him even just in the room not being able to breathe really well, and he was coughing, and and he was like, I really need to figure what's going on. And sure enough, after the World Cup, he was that's when he was diagnosed. And so if you look at the World Cup and the way he won it, and he knew, like, even that day, the day before the finals, like, I really want to do it for Paji. And that was what he was saying. I really want to do this for Paji. We've done so well. I really want to take the team over the line for Paji. And that was what was motivating him. And I think there is not a man who I've seen in sport, in Indian sport, or I think even in world sport, who's more resilient than him. Because once you beat cancer, then you literally start from zero again, right? You got to build your foundations again as an athlete, and then play again. So the kind of mental makeup, the kind of resilience that you have to build within yourself to beat all of that and come back, man, fantastic.
That's the poignant side to it. That's the fighter side to it. But there's always been a lighter side to you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, give us an instance of that. The kind of things you've shared with him. Did he even have a lighter side on the field? I mean, he had that partnership against Australia in the World T20.
So he was extremely intense on the field, right? But there were times on the field where he would be so intense that you would be intimidated by him, right? And there'd be a lot of times where he'd joke with you, and then you think it's a joke, and then you'd laugh, and then he'd suddenly look at you like this, like that intensity would come back, and like, what are you doing? And then you'd be like, sorry, sorry, what happened? And then he'd laugh and he'd hug you, and I'm like, oh God. And as a youngster, when you see somebody do that, it's so, you feel so much within the side, within the unit, right? Because you have a senior member, and I was only 21 when you're playing the World Cup in 2007. So as a senior member, when someone makes you feel so welcome, it's amazing. And he was one of those main guys, who was always there to guide you. He was always there to tell you, hey, you're doing this wrong. You're not doing this right. You can do this better. Even so much so in an IPL game where I think you're playing Sunrisers. He was playing for Sunrisers at that point, and me and Siddharth Kaul had we had a little bit of an ego tussle on the field. And then he came over when it started raining. So he came over, put his arm around me, and he said, you're better than this. You don't need to do that. And he's a youngster. There's no need to prove a point. And even at that age, this is literally 2 years or 3 years or 2 years ago, and even at that point, he's always looking out for you, and that's the brilliant thing about you. I have so much of love in my heart for that man, because he's just amazing.
Joy, one image that sticks is when we've talked so much about that particular game, we had a memory lane down with the Dimitri Mascarenhas game. So he would have been someone who was hurting, having been hit for 5-6.
He was the first guy to run in.
Exactly, and we were all worried that he had injured you because he jumped on you.
So basically what happened, he was so happy, and because our security was coming into the ground as soon as the match got over, he ran, like he was running from behind the security, and the security thought there was someone running from the crowd, and he tried to stop him, and he saw it's Yuvi. He jumped out of the way, and Yuvi wanted to jump on me and like throw me down. But I was just so happy, I wanted to jump on Yuvi myself. So, and then we just kind of met halfway, and then he was like, oh, then I realized just through body language that he wants to pin me down on the ground and hug me. So then I later gave in to him. So there's a picture of him, like he's trying to push me down onto the ground, but I'm like resisting because I'm trying to jump on him as well. It's a great memory for me.